What is up, everybody, and welcome to my second segment of Cook With Me. And tonight we're going to be making some spaghetti. First thing first, I've got my pot that I'm going to go ahead and heat it up. Cutting board. We're going to get some onion. I'm using two because these are like really small. Two of those. Also, we're going to cut up a bell pepper. And we're going to throw in some canned diced tomatoes a bit later. So I'm going to go ahead and prep the vegetables, get them cut up, and I'll show y'all kind of what they look like after I'm finished. I spoke on large onions for my soup. This is not the case for the spaghetti. We do not want to taste big chunks of onion in the spaghetti. I'm dicing them pretty small. So I've got some ground beef here. Ground beef is pretty expensive, guys. Doesn't matter whether you get a lot of it or a little bit of it, it's gonna be expensive. If you can get a smaller pack, they're anywhere from $4 to $5, maybe $6. But I go ahead and get the big pack because I like a lot of ground beef. So this is around $13. I'll probably take maybe half of this to use for the spaghetti. And then we're gonna season it. I don't want to use too much. The meat is cooking now. We're gonna get a spatula. Chop that up, chop it up, chop it up. I love the smell of ground beef. Even before it's seasoned in the pot, it just smells so good. Ground beef is cooking, and when you're making ground beef, it's a really fatty meat. So you're gonna have a lot of fat that you need to drain off. You've got to do this in a specific order, guys, and drain it and you season it last. The reason we're seasoning it last is because we don't want all the seasoning to run off with the grease and fat and all that stuff. So it just kind of makes sense. If you don't really like draining fat, or it's just kind of a health issue for you, you can actually buy lean ground beef at the store, and it's a bit more expensive, but it'll save you the hassle of having to drain the fat from your meat, and it's also healthier. So, okay guys, so the meat is done. I'm gonna drain the meat. Babe, can you help me? Oh, careful, it's hot. The ground beef is done. Go ahead and start seasoning the meat. So we've got seasoning salt, garlic salt. I have basil, but I don't know where it is. But we're going to use oregano. Ground oregano. A little goes a long way. And then we're going to do some garlic. I like to use freshly minced garlic because it just tastes good. That's just me. You guys can do what you want. But don't ever go too heavy on the garlic because garlic sneaks up on you. Pepper. I like the freshly ground pepper. It tasted a lot better. That is it for the seasoning, guys. We're just going to mix that all in there. Okay, now that it's all seasoned, we're going to go ahead and add the onion. And now that I look at it, it's a bit more onion than we need. So I'll probably only use half of this because I didn't use a lot of ground beef. Okay, let that do its thing. While we're waiting on the onions to cook, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my bell pepper. So this is kind of the size that I cut them. Feel free to cut them how big or small you want them to. And so that my meat does not overcook, guys, go ahead and start adding some of the tomatoes. As I said, there are ingredients that I would use differently. Usually when I buy these, I buy them with onions, peppers, basil, a lot of good stuff in there. But this is what we have, so this is what we're going to use. It's really not a big deal. Just add some extra salt if it's lacking. This is what it looks like. So we're just going to add that in there. Those are our tomatoes. Or you can even cut up your own tomatoes, guys. I mean, this is just what works for me. Next, guys, I like to add the spaghetti sauce. Now, this is organic, so this is actually a bit more on the healthy side. Usually, I use Prego. I switch up the flavors that I like, so literally, I mean, you guys can use whatever flavor of Prego that you want, but we're just gonna go ahead and use this. After this step, guys, the spaghetti is basically done. From here, it's just a matter of prepping the noodles and getting the bread in the oven. This sauce is pretty good. It actually tastes organic, but in a good way, you know. Actually, we're missing one last thing, you guys. Very, very important ingredient, and I'm gonna taste this right now. Oh my god. Heaven on earth, guys. We're missing one last thing. Tomato paste. Tomato paste is important because it gives the spaghetti texture, makes it more thick, and it also gives it a really nice flavor. Do not forget the tomato paste, guys. And because we have a little culture in the family, I'm gonna add some spice to the spaghetti. You can use red crushed pepper flakes or any other hot pepper if you guys like. Definitely don't be afraid to spice it up a little bit. If you guys want to see something kind of neat, check out this gadget. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this, but it's actually an electric can opener, and I'm gonna demonstrate the way it works. So basically, you put your can up on this magnet, and you lift this part, which is kind of like the knife to the can opener, and you just push down. And it actually works by itself without you holding it down. I just have a habit of holding it down. But anyway, lift this up. Voila. Alright guys, so just take a dollop of this. You don't really ever need to use the whole can, but I say this is enough. You'll know once you start stirring it around. And you'll see that your spaghetti will get very thick, and it will also have this really, really, really nice flavor that it did not have before. Test it out, guys. When you make this, taste your spaghetti before the tomato paste and after. And I can already smell the difference personally. I can smell the difference. So good. And normally I'll add sugar to my spaghetti, but my boyfriend doesn't really like certain things being sweet, so I haven't ever done that with him, and I don't think I'm gonna start today, so we're just gonna leave the sugar out. But if you guys like a sweet tasting spaghetti, don't be afraid to splash a little sugar in there. It's very delicious. And now I'm going to add a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. Even though that didn't sound like a little bit, promise, yeah, it was. Spaghetti is done, guys. So guys, now that our spaghetti's done, we're gonna go ahead and start on the corn. Just gotta mix two different kinds of corn. It's really not that special, actually. Normally I will use the golden sweet whole kernel corn that is from Walmart. Great value. And usually this already has a little bit of salt in it, so sometimes I don't even have to add salt, but sometimes I do. Yeah, it depends on how much salt I want. And I'm also trying some of the Food Lion brand white corn. White corn is supposed to be really sweet, so I thought that would be pretty interesting to try. So just using my can opener. And you guys, I just tasted some. This corn is so sweet. Hopefully something worth trying. So I'm gonna mix that in there. So now that we've got our corn in there, guys, I'm going to add a bit of pepper. And I'm not going to salt it because this corn is already salted. And I'm actually going to add butter. So we don't need a lot of salt. Mix that together. And let me just taste it to make sure that it's going to even be salty enough. We'll add a bit of salt. Now, I'm going to preheat my oven. And we're going to throw on the bread, and at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and get these noodles going, which should have been done already. Sim, get. Now for the noodles, I season this with seasoning salt, so they have kind of a garlicky flavor. Not seasoning salt, garlic salt. Add oil so that they don't stick. And we're not actually using spaghetti noodles, guys. We're using linguine, which I love linguine so much. I don't know. I just prefer it over spaghetti noodles. I just like it. Feels a bit more fancy to eat than spaghetti noodles, and I kind of just like the flat texture. break it in half or leave it whole. I like to break mine in half because I can fit it better in the pot. We'll just wait for that to boil. My noodles are done and we're just waiting on the bread. It just so happens that I have some more onions that I did not use in the spaghetti. So we're going to put a little bit of them in the corn. I think that'll be pretty good. It's the way my dad used to make it. So we're just going to follow suit. This is the bread we're baking today. If you haven't had it, this is the only way to go. They're so flavorful. And they'll take 5 minutes. So get those in the oven and then we'll be ready to eat. How much you want, babe? I'm about to enjoy my dinner, and I hope you guys enjoyed this meal. Until next time.